The second Photoshop tutorial video is going to be on the blanket fade. This is a very simple edit, so this video should only be a couple minutes at the most. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do obviously is pull my photo up, and then I'm going to hit Command J, which over here is going to create a background copy, which is really important. The background copy is what I'm going to paint the blanket fade onto. That way I can erase it off of the baby without damaging the original photo. Now I'm going to grab a paintbrush, and I want to make sure that it is soft, and I'm going to make sure that it is pretty large, so that's about good. And then I'm just going to hit Option or Alt and select a background color here. The most common, which here is pretty much this purple, so I'm going to grab the purple. And I'm just going to start down here. I'm going to click and hold. And I'm just going to go back and forth like in a half moon shape. And I let go when I got to the top corner here, and then I'm going to click down and hold again and go back and forth all the way down. And it's important to make sure that when you're doing your background fade that you are doing it where the blanket is naturally fading out and not any further up than you have to. Sometimes, I'll use like a super duper low opacity and just kind of very gently paint over a specific area if I need to add, like a finishing polish to maybe a certain corner, but it would be at a really low opacity. The general opacity for the actual fade is going to be, depending on the blanket, depending on the color, really, it's going to be somewhere between like 30 and 45%, but it really depends on the blanket. If you have a blanket that is like white, white is white, so you're going to use a higher opacity to make sure you're blending that and it's nice and neat than you would with a blanket, like this that has a multitude of tones and also different texture. So I only painted this one at 30%. And the nice thing about having that background copy, obviously, is being able to erase it, which is a must, but the fact that you can turn that layer up and down to adjust. If you think, after you paint it on, if it's just a little bit too much, you can just simply turn the entire layer down. Now I'm just going to grab my eraser and just erase it off of the baby. Again, some people like to use a layer mask and then mask it off, but I don't go to all that trouble. I'm usually pretty good with the eraser, and I can just do that instead. Same thing. I'm just using my bracket keys on my keyboard to make my cursor, or my brush, bigger and smaller without having to actually click on anything. Really handy shortcut. Okay, so this is a before and after. I can turn this up to 100%. Before and after, and I think that looks pretty good at 100%, but if I wanted to turn it down just a little bit, I can do that too. And flatten and save, and that is the blanket fade.